Good afternoon, everyone, and happy Monday. Hello, Masha. How are you?
Hi, Nancy. I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm excited. Like, we talk a lot about websites, and I think that it's because it's so important. It is your online calling card, it's who you are, your personality, your service models, your everything. This is where people go to check you out, often for the first or second time. So, today we want to talk about how to boost traffic and sales by using their services page properly, correct?
Absolutely. Yeah. And your services page is basically one of your core pages. You've got your 5 core pages, and services page is one of the most visited ones. So it's absolutely critical that you get things right there.
Yes. So, all right, tell everyone what a services page should be doing and what mistakes you see people making.
Yeah, absolutely. So your services page is basically where your prospects go to find out more, to find out how you work, what you do, what's involved. And the things that I see often on interior design websites is literally the headline services right at the top, which is absolutely fine, because there's no mistakes when it comes to website copywriting. There's no right or wrong, but there's best practices, and there are things that resonate. There is the just sometimes a better way to do things. So what I often see is the headline and then a laundry list of everything that an interior design firm does, and we see that literally a bulleted list of full service design. We do color consultations, we do regular consultations, e-design services, furniture selections, pink
Right. Accessories. Like, yeah, I mean,
exactly.
people, their skills as a designer is so vast.
Yeah.
But you have to find a way to present it in a way that they can picture themselves in it and not just a laundry list.
Exactly. And sometimes it's also too much information and doesn't really tell you what the benefit is. So your services page should inform your audience in terms of how you do things, what's involved. It should engage them. So there has to be something that resonates them. There has to be something that continues them moving along the page to that call to action at the end. It has to also build trust, because when they're visiting your pages, for example, they jumped from the home page onto services page, they need to see something that flags trust, something that says, okay, I need to know this is legit. I need to know, what other people say about you. So there are a few things that you should have on your services page to make it a lot more impactful and to actually convert your website visitors to those that actually click that call to action button.
All right. So let's talk about what they should always have on their services page.
Okay, so there's no surprise there, but the headline is like my favorite thing to talk about. You have to have an impactful headline at the very top of your page. And we've had lives before over the last few months where we talk about above the fold. So your headline needs to communicate a couple of things. It could be your unique value transformation, something that sets you apart, something that communicates value that you provide to your customers, or it could be the transformation that you help your clients achieve. So absolutely do not just put services. Services could be sufficient, but it's not impactful. It's not going to get people to scroll down and say, I want to know more, and I'm going to scroll down.
It's so interesting. I had this conversation the other day with somebody about selling the results as opposed to selling the process, right?
Mm-hmm.
So selling the result in my case is I'm going to get you to 100,000 if you're not there already, or I'm going to double or triple your income over my year's program, Profit Insiders. That's me selling the result.
Mm-hmm.
And all the details about, you can talk to me daily on my business helpline. You can go and do all the lessons, but like, that's what I'm delivering for. It's not what the transformation actually is about. So a designer has to really go, am I selling my process? I'm going to do this for you, that for you, that for you, this for you, and create a beautiful environment that you're wanting but unable to achieve yourself. That's selling the results.
Mm-hmm.
But you also could be looking at someone who wants you to do it all for them. So your process is hands-off client, I do it all for you. And that could be very appealing to a certain type of client. So do you have to do both, Masha, on your services page as a designer?
Yeah, and I would say you have to do more benefits over features. Features are great, but that just tells me, okay, great. It's like going on an Apple website. They always have those cool features, but they always tell you what that feature does, like how it benefits your life as the user. And they always have such great copy. So it's benefits over features. But yeah, it is definitely both. I think it's a balance of both, because remember, I think a few lives ago where we talked about different kind of users on your website.
Yes.
Some are methodical and they need to go into detail and know exactly what it is that you do. And some just kind of scanners and skimmers, and they just want to know, okay, the highlights, these, and what resonates with them is benefits. They want to know, yes, they want to know what it is that you do, but how does it make my life easier? And that's what I want to know.
Right. And again, same with no matter who, a copywriter, right? Masha, her results for you is going to be a website that people flow through, keep going, click the contact button. They see themselves in it. They see the result, right? Connect emotionally. Or you can say, the way it works is you send me this, I send you a crystal. Like, somebody may want to know how it works, but more, they often want to see the results. So I think the balancing the two is really the challenge, which is why people like you exist.
Oh, thank you. Yes. And I think it's one of those quotes I've used before. It's not selling the mattress, it's selling a good night's sleep. And that's exactly what you referred to. It's not, yes, that's great. This is, these are all the things that are involved, but what is the benefit? Which brings me to my next point. It is service descriptions with benefits. So don't just provide a laundry list of all the things that you do, but actually paint a transformation. Actually tell me how my life will be easier. Here's an example. Like, you could say space planning services, which, okay, I understand what it is. But when you say transform your spaces with thoughtful layout that blend aesthetics and functionality, ensuring each room feels both inviting and practical, that goes a step further. That actually tells me a lot more than just space planning. And it also articulates and explains, because oftentimes designers throw out jargon, interior design jargon.
It's hard not to go into
it's hard
industry.
Not to, and you still can. I think you still can. You just need to go a little bit into explaining what it means. And so, you're not only informing, but you're also connecting on that personal level and educating your client in terms of what it is that you do, how you do.
I like it. And I think space planning, some people know what that means, and you can bold that, or you can have that as the title, however you do it. And then the description for you have a person who's a scanner, and then you have the person who wants that further feeling of transformation.
Absolutely.
I love it.
Yeah. Another tip is important, and it's very relevant to interior design, is audience segmentation. So sometimes on the services page, we see a lot of different packages, a lot of different offers. And some of those offers are actually targeting different end users. So for example, like the best example is probably commercial interior design and residential interior design. You have two very different audience types there. So be mindful of your audience. Sometimes it's worth having a separate page, a dedicated page for different types of services. So yes, you can still have kind of like a landing service page where everybody lands and you see residential interior design, and then you see commercial interior design, a little bit of a blurb, a little bit of a teaser, but then it dives deeper and provides more information on a dedicated page. So if you are like 50% of your work comes from commercial, you should probably have a commercial interior design page rather than just kind of putting everything on the page for different audience types, thinking that it's just going to attract the right type of audience.
You're actually bringing to my brain, like, sometimes a whole different website people do as well for different services. But in this case, commercial and residential, I think 2 pages is perfect.
Yeah, just be mindful of that, because, commercial interior design, the people that are looking for that kind of service, they have different pain points, and you want to address those pain points. You want to speak to them. So rather than kind of just saying the same thing, we create beautiful environments. Commercial interior design customers might be looking for like return on investment for their
functionality, right? Helping your employees focus, or if it's a commercial public space,
user experience in that space. Like, think about hotels and lobbies and office spaces so it's more productive and like it's inspiring.
Yes. Okay, love it. What else?
So that's number 3. Number 4, building trust. And that's critical. That's not only for your services page, that's for every page, because when your ideal customers land on your services page, they want to know, okay, this is what you're saying, these are the services you provide, but what do others say? Like, how do I know that it's true? How do I
Right.
know, how do I gain that trust? And that's where your customer testimonials and reviews come in. That's where you can post your accreditations, awards that you won. Most often we see those on about pages, but I feel like customer testimonials should be on every single
I
page.
think so too.
Absolutely, because
Yeah.
we want to know. We build. We seem to trust people when we see others, invested something into that person. So I feel customer testimonials belong on every single page. And another tip, even if I could go a little bit further, is don't just post a regular customer testimonial. Try to find a customer testimonial that actually speaks to your service, that actually speaks to your process, because customers are not that great at giving customer testimonials because they all say the same thing. They created a beautiful space, they made things easier. But pick the ones, and maybe even educate your clients when the project is final, and you're about to ask for that customer testimonial. Maybe you have a feedback form. Try to guide them a little bit and maybe inform them, hey, customer testimonial would be great if you could touch on this or that. That would be great. You want to get a customer testimonial that actually speaks to how you do, not just what you do.
And one of the things I teach my Profit Insiders is when a client gives you a compliment, no matter where in your design process you are, whenever your client is happy, grab that moment.
Absolutely.
Grab
That's a
that
good
moment.
idea. Yeah.
Oh, I do it all throughout. Like, group coaching, we always ask for wins. And sometimes people say, if it wasn't for Leslie being on the other side of the business helpline that day, I wouldn't have, and I'm like, can we grab that and
I love
use
that.
that as a testimonial? And they're like, absolutely. Like, we'll even grab video clips or audio clips. So
that's such a good reminder to all of us to do that, because sometimes, an email comes through, or with interior designers, for example, when they're just presenting their first drawing, their first rendering, that's what they get. Clients are so excited and they say things like, oh my God, this looks
oh my God, this is better than I thought. I'm like,
Yeah.
thank you so much. Would you mind if I grabbed those words and used it like this when I presented a rendering? It was better than I thought. And usually they'll say yes. Get them when they're excited. When the sofa comes in the door and they're like, oh my God, it's great, better than I ever expected. Thank you. Like, can I use those
That
words?
is such a good reminder.
All
I often
throughout
see
the
that.
process, because
Yeah.
I'll tell you, once people are done with you, they're done with you, and they don't always want to take the time to give you a testimonial that everybody
Oh,
just
true.
automatically sends at the end. Get it during the process. If it comes out naturally, even better.
Absolutely, because at the end you're just chasing after them. They've moved on. They have other things they need to be taken care of. So
Yes.
that's a good idea, and a good reminder that it often comes through like text message, email. I often just do a screenshot, like when I send my first draft for the email for the website copywriting, and they're a client sometimes is on vacation or it's a Friday night, and they're like, oh my God, I just took a look at it. It's awesome. And then you see all those exclamation marks, and those are the best because they're full of just emotion, and that's the kind of testimonial that you want to have on your pages.
And the screenshots is such a great idea, right? I screenshot from my business helpline. Sometimes we forward audio messages to my team that says something great. And yes, grab your testimonials, put them on your services page if they apply to your service, which is what Masha is reminding us to do.
Exactly. And like you said, the screenshot, it's so much more legitimate when it's a screenshot of something that showcases your name. If you have a photo or video, I mean, amazing. That's even better, but it's sometimes it's hard to get that.
Yes.
But a screenshot from an email, from a text message, the way the customer meant to respond, that's the best thing. That just signals trust immediately.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. What else? Anything else?
So another thing is overcoming objections and hesitations. And that's the big thing. And we shouldn't forget that, yes, a common objection is the price, but it's not just that. There's so much more. It has to do with your process. So sometimes you want to make sure that you have enough information on your services page to overcome that objection, to not only address the common questions that people have, but to also proactively put them out there before they even think. So anticipating questions is a good idea. And the best example for that is frequently asked questions section. That's the best way to do it. Yeah,
That fake
and that's
news.
where you show your, transparency when it comes to your process, but it also signals the kind of pro you are, because you go and diligently answer every question, and you're open, you're transparent about how things go throughout the interior design process. So I feel like frequently asked
Yes.
questions is one of the best ways to overcome that objection.
Yes, but don't expect everyone to read it, because I love when a designer says to me, the client's pushing back on my process. It's on my website, it's in my contract, it's in my welcome pack. And I'm like, they didn't read it. So you still, for some clients, have to verbally tell them or direct them to read it if they're giving you a problem. But I absolutely think a mini process on your website could really make someone go, oh, wow, they are really organized. They
Yeah.
are really the leader of this job. Like, they can see your expertise in your websites. Totally. Like, I just want to get overall, if your website is not kind of a very professional website, that could deter those high-level luxury clients from working with you. So I know there's a lot of designers who want to have these great websites. They haven't quite gotten there yet. That's okay. But eventually, as you move up, start siphoning money aside so you can hire a copywriter and do a website properly, so that the next clients who come to you, if they're your ideal client, you're actually grabbing them. And
Yeah. And it's the judging book by its cover type of analogy, but it's so true, because they're spending a lot of money with you. They want to know, they want to make sure they're getting a professional service from start to finish. So when they see you've invested in your brand, in everything that comes to your brand, in your process, and how you show up online, they, kind of tells them something about you.
Absolutely. It's their first indication. Do you run a well-oiled machine business?
Yeah. Or like something on the side.
Or is it a side gig? Right.
Yeah.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with a side gig, but I'm just saying.
No, I fully encourage side gigs for anyone who loves interior design and wants to do it like as a hobby. Okay, it's a hobby, but once you start trying to make money and make a profit, having a professional website is really an indicator of, to a lot of people, how well you run your business.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And the last one, actually one more, but a well-defined, well-articulated process is one of the most important things that should be on your services page. I love me a good 1 to 3 process. There's nothing wrong with that.
I know.
But when it comes to such a big investment as interior design, your clients that are spending a lot of money, they want to see that you're a professional business and you've got this thoughtful process that takes care of every single thing, that they wouldn't have to worry about anything. So not only you're showcasing what you do, but you're also showcasing, how you do things. And there's, phases in the process. Maybe there is like a signature name. I recently worked with a client, and we came up with a really cool name for her signature process. And that's her unique value proposition. She's got this clearly defined process that she's known for.
Yes.
So absolutely I'm not saying go into a lot of detail, but showcase that there's a clearly defined stage at every process, and you know what's at stake, and you've given them enough information in terms of what the value that they will be getting at each step. So going back to the step number 2 that we talked about, not only just providing process descriptions, but also the value that they're getting with every single step. How do you make my life easier during every step in that process?
So now I hear the naysayers who are watching on replay, and they're like, well, not every design job's the same. We get it. You're not going to have 10 different service offerings with 10 different processes, but you can take your largest offering, new build or a renovation or just full service design, and lay that process out at least.
Yeah.
So if someone's hiring you for that higher level, they see you're organized, you're professional, and you've got your systems down pat. That's who people want to hire. People who they know what they're doing. So if your website process isn't there, like you're saying, put the process, or if it doesn't make sense, or seems too complicated or too simple, you could lose people, right? So there's that balance of showing your process on your website to an extent that people can understand it in English, but also show what you're doing. Like this, it's not easy.
No, it's not. And I love what you said about yes, every project will entail a different kind of process, but speak to your biggest offering. In copywriting, we have this rule: speak to one customer. Communicate only one idea, your biggest thing. So go with that, because I think it's going to be common sense for people to realize, okay, if they're doing like a 1-room transformation, not everything is going to apply But me as a prospective customer, seeing all the 7 steps that you have in the full process just makes me think, okay, she's got it together. She knows what to do. So if that's not a problem, imagine what she can do with just one room.
Yes. Yes, absolutely.
Yes,
Absolutely.
that works.
How
And
many tips did you just give?
so I think I gave 6 tips, but the 7th one is, I don't even mention it anymore, but I mean, don't forget your call to action. Please don't forget your call to action. Every single page, just like customer testimonials, you absolutely have to have a call to action, because the goal of your website messaging is to move people along in that customer journey, to get them to act, to get them to, to click that schedule a consultation button or download a lead magnet, whatever that call to action is. Whatever the action that you want your users to take, make sure to spell it out. Don't just assume that they're going to see the contact us button on the top right-hand corner. No. Don't assume that. No. You need to communicate. You are the guide of your website. You need to guide people in terms of what to do next.
So, want to talk about your design project? Want to chat, right? Like that's your call to action, just so anyone who doesn't understand call to action. To make
yes, and it's not just the button, it is that promise that you're making. So remind people that thing that you communicated at the very top of your page, that value transformation. Remind people in that call to action. There should be like a line or two. Sometimes it's just a line, and then the button to a call to action. But you need that line, that promise, to remind people what it is that you're good at.
I think it's amazing. I love talking about copywriting and words and how you move people along the sales process. It's so nuanced. It's not as easy as it seems. You can't just copy someone else's website and expect it to come out in your voice, right?
There's so many nuances. You're right. There's voice. There's your customers. Your customers have different pain points from someone else's customers. Plus, why would you want to kind of do the same thing that others?
Well, exactly. Your unique selling proposition is your personality first and foremost.
It's you who is, like we talked about earlier, other people may have the same type of design process, but nobody's you. Nobody does it just like you. Nobody brings you to the table. So you should just remember that.
Yep. So bring you to your services page, which is basically, and if you're watching later, go back and go back to the beginning, because Masha just shared 7 amazing tips to boost your traffic and your sales on your services page, because the words you're using is also going to attract Google and when people search and all that stuff too. So it is really important to get the words right to attract the people you want.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. So Masha, tell everyone what you do and how they can get you.
I am an interior design copywriter. I specialize in website copy specifically for interior designer. I have for interior designers, I have a signature framework called Reveal that's rooted in audience research, which essentially means I have interviews with your clients to understand what your process is like, what your experience is like working with you. Then I take those insights and translate them into website copy that resonates.
And what happens if people are afraid to have you call their past clients, so they don't have that many past clients for you to call?
Honestly, they absolutely love, your clients love talking about it, because
really?
I don't position them as in interviews. I position them as just friendly chats, and they absolutely love talking about it. I've never had a client who wasn't open to this kind of conversation. First of all, people love to talk about themselves. So let's start there. So,
I love it.
And the insights that I get from these interviews, these are like the best customer testimonials. It's pure gold, because they're full of emotion. It's nothing that a short customer testimonial can communicate, because those insights that they provide me is like, oh my God, it was so much fun to work with her, and this is why. And they provide layer upon layer upon layer of why that experience was so amazing for them.
I'm going to have to get you to interview my clients.
I think anybody should do. I'm going to be doing that for myself as well. I'm hiring a research analyst to do that with my own process. So
cool. That would be fun.
I think so. Yeah. It's eye-opening.
Oh, so eye-opening. All right, everyone. So you need help with the copy, the words on your website, or anything else related to words and your business, please check out Masha. We have a link to her website and her services. You're my copywriter for my blogs. It's been amazing. And everyone needs to know that when you get to a certain size, you can't always write your own stuff, but you got to find someone who finds your voice and can take your voice and take it to the next level for you, because you just can't do it all yourself. And that's why people like Masha exist. So when you need her, she's there. So I'm glad to make sure you're introduced to everyone once a month.
Thanks so much, Nancy. It was so much
All
fun.
right. All right. Enjoy, everyone. Have a great Monday, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye, Masha.